Welcome to Nitpicking News. Today, we're doing a Precon power-up.
This time it's the Esper Dungeon of Death deck, upgrading it for just $50.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds back in our new studio. I mean, this is where it's going to be from now on. You can go support the channel and our new studio at patreon.com. Go give us some money. We'd really appreciate it. Or TCGplayer link in the description where you can buy cards that you're probably going to buy anyway, like this deck. And then we get a kickback on the order. It's amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So let's hop right into this. We're doing a Precon power-up. What is that, you might be asking? Well, it's where we take a Precon made by Wizards that cost about $40, and we take $50 of our own money. Well, not our own money, but whoever's going to be making this deck.
Hypothetical money.
Hypothetical money. And we smash into one to make a very good playable deck for less than $100.
Yes. But to upgrade this deck, we probably should tell you who the commander is. White, blue, black for a 2/3 human wizard. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, venture into the dungeon. This ability triggers only once each turn. Create undead. Whenever you complete a dungeon, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
So after reading that commander, there's two very obvious things it wants to do. One, venture into the dungeon. Two, reanimate things from the graveyard.
Yeah, so the main game plan is going to be fill the graveyard with creatures and venture into the dungeon literally just as much as possible. We're trying to go our turn, their turn, next turn, next turn. Every single turn we're trying to venture once.
Yes, and then that'll get us through a dungeon. Once we complete dungeons, we get the reanimating thing. So how are we going to win? Well, we're going to complete dungeons to reanimate massive game-ending threats until our opponents die, or
they'll eventually die.
Or concede.
Yeah, they'll probably do one of those. Before we upgrade the deck, I just wanted to talk about where you have to venture to the dungeon a lot. This is the venture into the dungeon deck. So we should probably talk a little bit about the 3 dungeons.
Yes.
You got Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which is the longest dungeon. Lost Mine of Phandelver, which is the best if you just want to complete a dungeon and not hurt yourself. And Tomb of Annihilation as the fastest, most painful route, or the most damage dealing route.
So we're mostly going to be sticking to Lost Mine, as it doesn't have negative effects on us, and it is the quickest dungeon to complete.
Yeah, if you go through, it basically says draw a card. If you can draw a card, or if you can venture every turn, then you'll draw a card every go around the table. And if you really want to complete a dungeon and reanimate something, that's basically the fastest way while not hurting yourself. And what you might want to do is start with Lost Mine, get some ventures completed, reanimate some things, and then just go into Mad Mage for crazy value.
Yes, and so we're going to jump into the upgrades now. The first thing we got to do with every one of these decks, and I take out the cards that just do not at all fit our game plan or what we are trying to do. The first one, Propaganda. One, we don't even think this card is good at all. And besides that, we're not a deck that's looking to avoid being attacked. We're going to have creatures out in the battlefield. Mm-hmm. They're not going to want to attack us because we'll be venturing, because we'll chump block every single time.
This deck has 48 creatures in it, and then also the commander. So 49% of the deck is creatures. We do not care about combat at all. And it's such a trap to go, well, yeah, I don't want to be attacked. Nobody wants to be attacked. I mean, just cut Propaganda. You'll be so much better off. Minimus Containment. It's fine, but it's not a commander removal spell. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's not good enough for commander. That's all there is to it. I mean, if it, the fact is, the reason spells like Minimus Containment are good is usually they lock commanders on the board. This gives them a way to sack that, so that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's basically just destroy. Wand of Orcus, it's just not what we want to do.
Different deck.
Zombie deck. Yeah, not this.
Red Absorption. Also, this is instant sorceries. No, thank you. Not what we're doing in this deck.
No. Immovable Rod, maybe somewhere. Not here.
Not even close. The one they put in every single deck that's going to get cut from every single one of these decks. Bucknard's Everfull Purse, terrible, not even close.
This is the Bonder's ornament of this go round of precons.
Yeah, not good. Revivify, which I love saying because it's a strange word. Just not interested. Not for us.
It's not even off theme, but it's just bad. I just don't think this card's very good at all.
Yeah, and the last one, Extract Brain. I think this is a cool card, but it's not very good. And it's also definitely not on theme.
We cut a lot of the non-creature spells in favor of creatures. So we don't have ways to put a card into our graveyard every single turn. It sounds kind of hard, but I think this deck's really good at it.
So now that we've cut those useless cards that don't fit our game plan, we're going to add cards that, well, do fit our game plan. First one is a brand new card from Modern Horizons 2. It's Master of Death. It's a 3/1 zombie, enters, surveils 2, and at your upkeep, you can just pay 1 measly life. 1 life, that's nothing, to put it from your graveyard to your hand. This card is strong.
Yeah, we don't have to cast it. to get the card back to our hand. So if we can discard it maybe or mill it over, we just end up paying 1 life to functionally draw a card on our turn. And this thing's just going to keep helping us venture into the dungeon over and over. Every 4 ventures is scry 1, make a goblin, deal 1 damage, gain 1 life, and draw a card.
Yeah, so I love how you're putting it. Like, you don't need to play it, but it also, on top of when you do play it, it has Surveil.
It still ventures.
Which actively helps us venture in our deck. Actually, the odds are pretty good that you hit. That not 100% obviously, but you're probably pretty strong with 48 creatures in the deck. In Surveil 2, pretty likely to hit a creature.
Yeah, you have to lose a coin flip twice to not hit one. And we're just going to throw everything in the bin. Next is Sir Conrad the Grim. This is like the perfect card. This is also going to end games. It's got the 5/4 stats, whatever, but it's got the best aristocrat like deal damage trigger ever. And it mills us. So every turn we can try to mill and hit a card to then venture into the dungeon. Sir Conrad is nuts. We're going to go off so hard with this. If they don't kill it, they're going to lose.
It's also a mana sink. Yeah, this card can win games by itself if not answered. Card we're looking to mill over, honestly, is Nether Trader, because when it is in the graveyard, whenever another creature dies, you just pay 1 black, bring it back to the battlefield. You're going to do this over and over again. This card's very strong.
Yeah, so you can play Nether Trader on your turn, attack somebody for free. Then you sack it on someone else's turn, venture into the dungeon. Then on the next player's turn, you sacrifice something else, bring back Nether Trader, venture into the dungeon. Then it passes to the person before you, and you sack Nether Trader, venture into the dungeon.
Yeah, and if you have any way to like produce a second token, like when your creatures die, like a Pawn of Ulamog type thing, well, all of a sudden, Nether Trader basically brings itself back.
Yeah, this is going to at least double the amount of ventures you can do. And with cards like this, you're probably starting to see, oh yeah, it's really easy to get the quad venture.
Yeah, this one, it's not too exciting, but it works well with the deck. Perpetual Timepiece, we're just going to mill 2 every turn, and it stops us from being as susceptible as we would be normally to graveyard hate.
Yeah, and it ventures into the dungeon because it mills us for 2.
Yes, I mean, again, so you're going to hit, because you can do it. It is essentially a coin flip to hit. 3/4 of the time then you hit.
Yep.
That's about the math. Maybe it's a little worse than that. Slightly worse. It's probably like 73% the hit every time. But pretty good odds there.
Yeah, so you can save it for a turn where you couldn't otherwise put cards in the graveyard and then fill the hole and try to venture 4 times a go. Next, Tortured Existence. This is just cheating. This card isn't even... This is the easiest of easy modes we'll ever have. You discard a creature for a black, and then you return another creature. I don't even care what it is. You're just going to loop the same 2 just for 1 mana, venture into the dungeon.
Like you said, all this reads is 1 mana, trigger, venture into the dungeon, and that's going to be very, very strong for us.
Next, Key to the City. We're making creatures unblockable. That may or may not be relevant. It is relevant when you can just kind of mess up other people's attacks at the very bare minimum, and it replaces the card you discard, even if you don't discard something like Master of Death or Nether Trader. So it's a good discard outlet, pushes through some damage, and ventures in the dungeon.
Yeah, you're going to be reanimating big fat things too, because obviously we're a reanimation deck. So when you reanimate with some of those big fat things, Key to the City just can make them unblockable and hard to deal with.
Can we shorten venture into the dungeon? Can we say like when you vid or something? Because I'm just so sick of saying that 85 syllable trigger. Midnight Reaper. When we sacrifice creatures, get our ventures on, then we just replace them and draw cards.
Yeah.
And Grimhor specs, and it insulates against board wipes.
Yes. So these cards are obviously just good because we have how many creatures? You said 49?
48?
No, 49.
49 total, 48 in the deck.
Yeah, 49 creatures. So that's going to be... These cards are obviously very good. They're going to be our best draw engines.
Now that we've cut the terrible unthematic cards for the core strategy cards, we can replace the cards that are doing what the deck wants, but not very well, and get to the meaty part where we upgrade and make this deck so much better than it already is.
Yes. So the first one we cut, Eternal Dragon. Is this card good in EDH? Because I don't think it is.
No, it is not good. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts, the cards that put creature cards into your graveyard. Eternal Dragon, Ronom Unicorn, my gosh, Mulldrifter, one of the better ones. Forbidden Alchemy and Murder of Crows. Murder of Crows was okay, but I cut it because we just didn't need it.
We can just do better. That's
yeah, I mean,
simply.
Look at all these amazing ways to put creatures in the graveyard.
Yes, we have Archfiend Ifnir. It cycles itself, and if you have any other one of your discard outlets on the battlefield, it just becomes, one-sided board wipe.
Yep, there's also Nimble Obstructionist, which is going to counter something, get you your card back, and then help you venture. That's like a 2-for-1 at least. Vizier of Tumbling Sands just untaps, so basically cycles for 1 mana. Street Wraith cycles for 0 mana. Vidalcan Aether Mage, Wizard cycles. So you can tutor up a wizard and then get your venture.
What's the best wizard to get?
There's only like 6, but that's still decent. I mean, Master of Death is a wizard.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't matter that there's not that many wizards. I was just wondering what the best ones to get were.
Yeah, there's not too many. It's nothing crazy.
Valiant Rescuer is another cycler from Ikoria. Again, you can play this one out and you can get some reward for cycling, but most likely you're just going to go ahead and cycle it.
Yep. Dimir Houseguard kind of cycles, but it transmutes, which lets you search for another 4-drop, put that in your hand, get your venture, and then move on with your life. Or it's a sack outlet that can just venture every turn.
Then we have Ghostly Pilferer, which must have the key to the city because it basically is the key to the city. So it can discard to make itself unblockable. Then taps you can draw. But as the other relevant text of basically if an opponent casts their commander, they draw a card.
I think this card's not that bad. I want to kind of try to play it. It looks like it's going to replace itself all the time. Then if you have any discard or unblockable synergies, it just kind of works for you. So that's going to be a solid role player.
Yeah. So now we need better things to reanimate. Oh my goodness. They put some terrible stuff to reanimate. Meteor Golem. Don't reanimate that. That card is not worth playing in EDH. 7 mana removal spell. No thanks. Sunblast Angel. No.
This is Esper Reanimator. We have 3 colors. We have access to 3 colors. We get all the best fatties from those colors.
Yes. So let's start with some of the good ones. Nezahal, the Primal Tide. This card's absolutely bonkers and nearly impossible to kill. And on top of that, it works with discard.
I wasn't even thinking about that when I added it. I'm just like, this is going to take over the game. Yeah, it literally discards cards.
Yeah, it discards cards. So it just has a ton of synergy for our deck. Sepulchral Primordial, is that what Sepulchral? Sepulchral? Whatever. It enters the battlefield, you reanimate things from other players' graveyard. This thing is gigantic. Same thing with the Leuven Primordial, except for you're going to do instants and sorceries from other graveyards. Yeah,
these are all really important because you play, let's say, Sepulchral Primordial, reanimate their 3 best things, and then you go venture, 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 and on your turn, sacrifice the Primordial and then venture and get it back. So this is every single turn you can play all of these.
Oh yeah, Primordial. All you need is a sack outlet.
Yep.
Just sack one at a time. Plus, you're going to get any ETBs that you're going to get from any of the other creatures every single go around the table.
Yeah, actually, I meant you can loop any of these creatures every single turn by venturing. But Sepulchral Primordial just gives you the 4 creatures to sacrifice.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's funny. You can loop all 4 of them.
Yeah, so Sepulchral Primordial by itself will let you loop, and you're going to get ETBs every single go around. They got to stop that loop. That loop's going to win the game quick.
Yeah, how about Agent of Treachery? They just have to stop you from ever putting that card in your deck because it's super annoying.
Yeah, that card's frustrating. It's very good, and again, you can just, like you said, you can loop around and do it again. Agent of Treachery is very strong. One of the best reanimation targets.
It's actually really easy to get the second clause that almost never matters.
Why is that?
Because you can just keep getting it back over and over and over.
Yeah, that's true.
There's Angel of the Ruins, which plane cycles. So it's going to put itself in the graveyard and help you venture and replace itself with a plains. And then it comes in and it just exiles 2 artifacts or enchantments. So if you have to reanimate this, it's a 2-for-1 and it'll take out the 2 best things.
Yeah, and Void Windwearer makes it so your opponents can't play half their deck.
Yeah, that's the biggest fatty we have in the deck. I think it was like upwards of $5. We just nailed the budget so hard. We got to really juice up the reanimation targets, so you're just going to smash people.
Yeah. This next category is just, there's some cards that we cut just because they weren't creatures. That was the simple reason. Lightning Greaves, it's a fine card. Our commander does not need haste, so we're not super interested. Thorough Investigation, interesting card, but not that great. Utterend, bad removal. Victimize, bad. And also Revivify, bad.
Yeah, so the only 2 we have as replacements are Ravenous Chupacabra and Revelark for this, but it's just the idea of everything we replaced is a creature. So that's how you get to the 49 creature count that makes this deck so much better than a similar deck that has 30 creatures in it. I mean, you look at Perpetual Timepiece, we're 75% to hit, but the 30% or the 30% creature deck is not.
Not even close. No, not at all.
It's like 25% hit or something.
Yeah, it's much, much, much worse. Moving to, we got to move to win cons now. We got our creatures. Our deck is built correctly. We talk about this all the time. You can win with combat. Every deck can win with combat, but we got to add some win cons that, can go outside of that. The easiest one, and we do this with most white decks, especially aristocrat decks. Karmic Guide, Revelark, Sack Outlet. That's a loop by itself there, which means that there's any number of payoffs for this. If any power with creature 2 or less that is an ETB that's going to effectively win you the game, like our next win con, Gary, which is boring. I'm glossing over Gary because is always good. It's always amazing, and you should play it in almost all your black decks, especially when you can loop it.
Yeah, Reanimate, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. It's like 25 cents and it'll win you the game all the time.
It's such a good card.
Let's throw Sir Conrad back in here too because he will dominate people.
Yeah, and if you just have the camera card and Reflect and nothing else to pay it off, Cruel Celebrant is just a drain. It's Zulapur Cutthroat, but it's black-white.
Yes.
So last thing here, with every single one of these precons, we love improving the lands because we know that the mana bases are usually okay, but they can definitely be better, and we have the budget to do it. We cut the bounce lands, all 3 of them, just not interested in playing those. Evolving Wilds, Teomorphic Expanse, slow fetches, just not interested in for this deck. Esper Panorama, 3 plains, an island, and a swamp.
Yeah, there were so many tap lands, especially when I wanted to add some lands that are tapped. I'm like, okay, we got to cut some, and these are all going to slow your deck down. And so we keep the tap lands, like, for a budget deck, it's fine to have 12, but we were bordering on like 17 if I didn't start cutting some.
Yeah, so the first thing we added in the lands is we added a bunch of cycling lands. Ash Barrens, Irrigated Farmlands, Secluded Steppe, Lonely, Sandbar, and Barrenmoor are just 5 different lands that cycle. And this deck does have a nice cycling sub-theme, so they're going to be good.
Yeah, every once in a while they get you a 1/1, or they get a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. Or you're flooding and they're just not lands. They won't get you the venture, but they are pretty darn good.
Yeah, River of Tears is just, it's just a dual land.
Untapped dual land.
Untapped dual land. And we get the power here to add 2 of our favorite
cards.
MDFCs, the land ones. We got Kabira Takedown and Hagra Mauling, both very strong cards.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff you can cut like Utter End Hagra Mauling. It probably looks a little weird because I'd so much rather play Hagra Mauling, and I'm never playing Utter End. But it's like, oh, but Hagra Mauling's worse. Hagra Mauling's a land. Utter End is an instant / sorcery speed spell that isn't a creature, but you have to have lands in your deck. So we're going to put our removal spell in our land slot and then free up a creature spot.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. In a quick rundown of the stats here, our budget was $50. We spent $47, $27. Damn, we're good. We're not in sync at all.
We're good.
Original CMC of the deck was 3.62, and we changed it to 3.62.
We just nailed that. We made it so much the same mana cost. I don't know how it even got to exactly the same, but we did it.
Yeah, within 2 decimals is pretty crazy. And 39 total changes for the deck. Really put a lot of improvements into this, and this deck looks a lot stronger now.
This deck will destroy people. I think if maybe there's some universe where we play these 4 decks against each other, I think this one you're gonna have to have some kind of early answer for whatever the first thing is we reanimate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just keeping the commander off the battlefield will be huge for this deck. I think the deck will. It's not that the deck is weak, but that the deck will struggle a lot more if you keep the commander off the battlefield.
I think a thing you're going to be able to do is play Sephiroth on turn 4 or 5, so you have a couple extra mana. So you're going to get to, when you untap with her, reanimate something. That's going to be your 4th venture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to avoid.
You gotta kill it. Yeah.
As the opponents of the deck, if you keep it off the battlefield 2 or 3 times, I feel like this deck, that's how you slow this deck down.
Yeah, it'll just have to draw to hard cast the big creatures or reanimate them some other way.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the whole precon power up, and special shout outs to every single one of our patrons. Love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys make these videos possible, actually possible.
You're the reason we're doing all these precon power ups. It's might be my favorite series to do. I say I like all of our series because why wouldn't I like what we make? But this is really one of the most satisfying for me to do.
Yeah, BZ puts in a lot more work. He loves doing them. He just I'll do them, and he does them all in 2 days.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So you're helping us do that. You can also help us physically by going to the Patreon. We want your name to be here. We really do. So if you can put your own name here by joining the Patreon, that'd be great for both of us.
Or you can put some stupid joke there, like
Joe sucks.
I think there's first in, last Kappa. That's a joke.
Yeah, there is. TCGplayer link. We'd also like you to use that, even if you're buying cards that you would normally buy anyway, because then you buy them on the link, the site, and we get a kickback on the order. It's great.
So you use the link in the description below. You click on it. It takes you to TCGplayer homepage. There, you navigate to buy what any cards that you were going to buy anyway.
Anything.
Or you can buy extra cards to support us. Either way, you're going to get the cards and you're going to enjoy them, and we're going to get a kickback, and that's supporting the channel without spending any extra money.
Wow, amazing. There's just no excuse now to not support us.
Yes. And what's the last thing? Oh, Discord. Check out our Discord. We have a Nitpicking Nerds Discord. Come in there, hang out.
Talk to us.
Yes.
We're real people who are in a Discord. Also, we have Tidbit about our lives.
Is it my turn?
I think it's your turn. There's got to be something we did recently. We've been busting our humps.
Yeah, we're in a new studio. We already mentioned that, I think.
I don't know. We suck at painting, though. We didn't mention that.
We did.
We really do suck at painting.
We really suck at painting. I painted this whole wall mostly, especially on anything you can see I painted.
Yeah, and I touched up the sides, and then I got sick of it, and I touched up only one side. We had to paint the 5 shelves. I think we did everything wrong. Everything possible wrong.
We didn't really. So these shelves, they look good on camera. They do not look good in person.
Okay, they look fine. You really have to get up there, but once you get up there and squint at them, not great. I'm actually looking over right now and seeing things wrong with them. So we'll touch those up. But we painted them with brushes, and we should have used a roller. We shouldn't have even bought paint. We should have used spray paint.
Yeah, we should have done anything other than what we did.
Yes, and it took forever.
It took so long. Yeah, it was not. The process we took and used was bad.
We ventured into all the wrong sides of Dungeon of the Mad Mage when we should have gone through Fandelver.
Yeah, I don't know what we were doing. We are not artists in the sense of like painting or drawing or any of that kind of stuff. Like obviously making YouTube videos is a form of art. It is in some ways. Not fancy art, but it is art. And we can do that. When it comes to if you want me to draw you something, oh no, I thought this is just a note. This is the last thing before we end the video. I thought it would be a cute idea for me to for a signature to Joe and draw little cherries. I couldn't do it. I tried. I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't even draw 2 little cherries. They literally ended up looking
2 circles and 2 lines.
And they ended up looking very phallic.
Oh god.
Yes. Peace out, Tribe Scout.